that in mind. Uh-oh. Also, the general reminders on page 9, talking about physical fitness, being able to be in the right place to make the call. Errol has briefly talked about the physical assessment that he's wanting to do. Guys, he's not looking for you to run a mile in 6 minutes by no means. He just wants to see effort, but he does need to know, if you're an umpire, that you're not going to get killed on that side of the ball, that you can defend yourself and get out of the way if that should be necessary. Also, in those basic reminders for that page 9, we've not had a lot of problem with this, but we're going to touch on it very briefly. If you've got a game assignment, you don't need to be drinking alcohol the day of the game assignment. I think that goes without saying. That's kind of one of those common sense things. Many of us have gone to sites where the change crew may be out in the parking lot prior to the ball game, having them a drink, but we certainly don't need to be partaking of anything like that. Nothing worse than if you smell like it when you get there. The automatic thing is, oh, he's intoxicated. Keep that in mind. One of the big things, especially from Cumberland County, that Earl's been getting, when we get to a game site, we don't need to be using any e-cigarettes once we get there, or any tobacco products. In the past, it's halftime, people walk over to their car and fire up a cigarette. They're big on that. So that's something that he's asked me to make sure we cover. Hopefully everybody can get by for 2 hours. As you can see probably behind me, I love a cigar more than anybody, but we'll refrain from doing that while we're at the site. Anybody have any questions about that? I'm assuming everybody has their rule books or a game manual by now. If not, that should be coming to you very shortly. He talked about a mailer that was going out. So that's going to be going, if not today, it should have been going in the next couple of days. Let's talk very briefly about how to study for the rules of football. A lot of people sit down and they start reading and they jump all over the book, and they have a lot of questions afterwards about what it is that they have read, because they don't understand the terminology that may be getting used. Whether you're new to officiating or whether you've been doing it for years and have started deciding to get more in depth in the book, what I highly recommend is the first rule to read is Rule 2. It's all the definitions. It will cover more things that will help you further along in your studies. I've heard for years people talk about, if you want to learn the kicking game, read Rule 6. Well, folks, Rule 6 is only about 4 pages. It can't possibly explain the whole kicking game. Rule 2, for instance, for someone that has no idea what a post-scrimmage kick foul is, there's a definition that it lays it out line by line. So if you have never worked back judge in your life and you were going out Friday night to work a back judge position, if you knew Rule 2 or at least have read it, you would be able to go back and reference what has to happen and all the things that need to make that, and we won't go into that tonight. But Rule 2 would cover more parts of the kicking game in that little sentence, in that little section is my point. Read Rule 2. That's a great place to start, especially if you're new and have never read the rule book, because it can be a little bit confusing. When we talk about game management, anytime you're reading in the rule book, anytime you see something that's highlighted in gray, that is a rule change from a previous year. For instance, when we're talking game management, we're going to throw the ball in short bursts. I know Chip's going to get a kick out of this one. Don't throw the ball and let it hit the ground and bounce all over the place, like some of us have done in the past. We're all guilty. However, we want to make it look clean, guys. If the clock's running and it's September the 9th or whatever day we're out there and it's 100 degrees, take your time triangling the ball. There's no point in it bouncing on the ground and rolling all around if the clock is moving. Now, if the clock's not moving, let's put a little more hustle in it and get the thing running again so we can get out of there. Game management simply means, as you're reading the rules, every one of these clinics we get on, they preach, read the rules, study the rules. Well, just because you know every rule in the book, as Eddie Melvin once told me, and I don't profess to know all the rules in the book, it doesn't mean that you've got to apply it to every time you see something you need to use a little common sense. If it's 40-0 and the losing team has a pass interference call, it's not always the best time to put a flag on the ground. So we want to be mindful of those kind of things. But certainly, when we're talking rule changes, one was any official can declare that the ball needs to be changed. If you're the back judge and I'm working with you that night and you've not touched the ball all night, and all of a sudden you want to come up and say that the ball needs to be changed, I'm going to politely ask you to go back where you came from and leave the ball to the umpire and whoever put it there. And I think we can all relate to that when it comes to that. So game management is, some common sense involved. It's just because we all know, or hopefully know, that between every down, if they make a substitution, that player, if let's just say, for instance, they're going to punt the ball and now they decide they're not, well, their deep man was a sub that came in, he's got to stay. He can't go off. If the ball game's out of hand, there's no point throwing that flag. Let him go and we'll get on with it. Once you get into Rule 3, it's going to talk a little bit about substitutions, timing factors. Very short rule, 3 pages, maybe 4 at the most. But there's a lot of information in that can save you in a ball game, that can make you look really good. Wing officials. Some of you new folks will be wing officials. All of us will be at some point through the year. I would assume that we'll all bounce around to that point. The best thing you can do as an official on the sideline and you're working a wing is communicate to that coach when he's not yelling at you, obviously, feed him information. If you know that he's got 2 timeouts, let him know he's got 2 timeouts. Don't wait for him to ask you and then you have to look in your pocket. It always looks better if you're able to communicate to him how many he's got before he ever asks you. So he knows you're on top of the game. When we get out and do some of our clinics, we'll go over, where to stand and those kind of things when it gets to that. But be proactive when talking to the coach. Keep him well informed. And if there's it never fails. If a play happens on the far side of the field, the coach is already at you before you have any earthly idea of what happened on the other side of the field. And his question, of course, is what happened? Come on to the field, just, to the number so that you can communicate with the crew and keep him informed of what's going on that side. Also in Rule 3, it talks about timing when we're talking about halftime periods and those kind of things. The longest halftime that we're going to allow anybody to have is 20 minutes. It doesn't matter what school you go to, whether it's E. Smith and Westover playing that night, both bands want to play. 20 minutes is it. If they have a problem with that, there's rules that cover that. But if you have a problem with that, you need to let Mr. Daniels know right away where he can address the athletic director. It's not something that we're going to, get involved with dealing with the athletic director on the sideline or anything like that. We'll deal with the coach, and a lot of times it's out of his control, but we'll do the best we can to get them off and get them out of the way. Most of those schools you go to, they're there to see the band anyway, most of the crowds. So keep that in the back of your mind as we move through that. I see, Earl, you got anything you wanted to chime in while you had a minute? Because I know you're between.
Yes. Again, thanks, guys. I see that the number right here is 66. As we keep, just like we in sports, we keep score. And I'm the type that I like to focus on the people that are doing what they're supposed to do. I don't really run behind. You signed up to do football. I met with the football staff. We had dinner last Thursday, and some of them are going up to Greensboro tomorrow to go and get some more training on Dragonfly. Now, my expectation, I told the staff, is I want to put my best officials out on the field every Friday night. So I look at your calendar. The season, the first Friday night is the 19th of August. And if you would, go through things that you know, birthdays, anniversaries, weddings for your family, anything like that, things that you know. I want my best officials to work every Friday night. I will find out, we may have 4 more schools that we, Upton, Union Pines, Lee County, and Southern Lee. We know that going forward. I'll get with Ron and Frank and other members of the football staff. We're gonna go over the schedule and see what our significant challenges are during the season as far as that. I say Friday night, that's one thing. I'd like for you to be available both Thursday and Friday. All right. But again, we're gonna have a home field on the 23rd and the 30th. I expect for everybody to be attending one of those two. All right. The week of the 18th, I will start doing the fitness assessment. I hope everybody read those different things. I don't know if Ronnie went over that. The things that I'm emphasizing is about fitness and being able to cover the field. Average play in football is 5 to 7 seconds. We got to be prepared. That's throughout the game. We got 4 quarters of 12-minute quarter. I mean, being all jacked up in the first quarter is you got to maintain that. So those of you who know what you need to work on, you need to start working on. I will talk about positions later next week. And I got several people say they want to be a referee, they want to be the chair. You can still want to. But my thing is that I'm going to put you in the best position for the team. Everything that we do is going to be focused on the team. All right. I like the staff that I have. I will put that out. We got 6 conferences, and I got whether we provide officials for those other 4 new schools, I'll say 3 because Upton definitely going to provide. But when we meet with the staff, with the Cecil Mark tomorrow, I want to start the next time we meet, we're going to get Dragonfly. I mean, guys, middle schools, high schools, all the schools I got, we're going to be on Dragonfly. Again, if you work at a different level, different thing, don't close your Auburn account. Okay, don't do that. What I don't want to say, hey, we turn this on, I say right now, less than a month out. August 10th, our first game. Check Dragonfly. If you get a notification, as I load some games, I did it last week, I just sent games out to some people on the football staff without notification, just to see how it works. You got a game, accept the game. If I move you from the game, I may call you and ask you, did you get notified? How did you get notified? So again, we get ready to get on the field this year. You shouldn't be worried about how you get the games assigned and how you're gonna get paid. Those things are gonna be worked out. If you have a question about anything before you call the state, send me a message, right? They got inundated over the because they were closed last week, and yesterday was their first day back in the office. Today they were out of office, and they should be back. But hopefully you understood about if you need a background check, just go back and do that. And if it's a problem, it's glitch in the system right now. Anytime, I'm going to send not one size fits all. I will send things out as it pertains to you. If you get a message from me saying, hey, you don't have this, I'm telling you what the records indicate. I will do done. A couple people sent me their concussion course completion. I will go back and check that. My thing is to have everybody eligible by the 25th. Cecil Mark, our supervisor official, he's coming down on Monday, the 25th. I'm going to have all the games on that 10th. I'm going to stay 2 weeks out on assignment, right? I tell you that, I know I want y'all to hold me to that, all right? So if you get a game within 2 weeks, I mean what? Somebody has come off the game, right? Don't worry right now about keeping the Dragonfly up because we still working through that. And when we meet on the 18th, we're probably going to do some things in small groups. Now, when we do this fitness assessment that's on that week, I will come out at 6 o'clock in the morning. I will come out 8, 9 o'clock at night. Whatever it is, I expect everybody to go through it. All right. I'm going to, before we go out and do it with the masses, the entire football officials, we're going to do it. I'm going to conduct that with the staff. All right. This assessment, guys, because we know what the strengths and weaknesses are. right? And we're going to accentuate the strength, but also we got to address our weakness. So again, I appreciate the time. Hey, again, this is the last Tuesday. Then the next Tuesday is going to be on Monday the 18th, and then on the 25th. Now, if you can't be there on the 25th, that is a requirement to attend the state clinic. Now, only one, I mean, a lot of people have indicated going to Cardinal Gibbons. Again, there is no waiver for attending the state clinic. Okay, so again, I'll send it out again. Make sure you attend the state clinic. Tell me which one you attend if you're not going to attend the one in Southview. Because what I'll do, or Ronnie or Frank will go back and check. Make sure you got credit for it. Okay, because I don't want to get to the end and then they waiver, they give you a waiver, you're not going to be probably eligible for the postseason. Right, the test starts on the 24th. Now we got some people that are new and some people get together for the test and they're gonna have a test review. Any type of training that pertains to making you better, I'm all in. Okay, so we have some small groups there meeting about the test. So I'll send some things out because normally what they do when the new test come in, we know the new rules gonna be on. But they have something else. But again, we have a goal, our association, for 90 or higher. I mean, I want everybody to make over 80 because 80 qualifies you for the post. All right, so again, you have 2 weeks to take it. Don't be a hero, don't be a shero. Hey, before you got time. But that mechanics manual, as I put this out today, we're gonna work directly at that mechanics manual as much as we can. If all else fails, read the book. Anybody got any particular question for me before I break? And Ronnie, I appreciate what you did tonight on short notice. I will be starting after tomorrow, probably on a daily basis, sending out emails, some short, some again. In the emails in Dragonfly, I can't bold, I can't put italics, I can't put underline. So, but read the email. It's nothing more frustrating for me is that I send something out, then you turn around and ask me. That's one person. Not trying to. We all busy. I know people say, "Hey, are you busy?" Yeah, of course you busy too. But when you call me, most of you, I know when I make phone calls, I always make it for me. All right. I always, and I know you do the same things. So again, if you send me a text or send me an email, I will respond. All right. So again, we're trying to get everybody administratively done by the end of this week. I mean, things you can't control. Like I said, I sent those 13 people that information about the background checks. So I mean, you ain't got to worry about that until they do something else. All right. Anybody got a particular question? Do I, Don, in the chat, I need to look at?
Hey, Errol.
Yes, sir.
Hey, did you get up with the young man that was from Chicago? He left it.
Yes, I think, yeah, Russell, I appreciate that too. Yes.
Okay.
It's constant to new officials. My guys, if I ask you to contact new official, consider that that means you represent the program in the right way. And I want you to talk. Right. So I look at where they're from and everything else. I would tell you Herman Lewis has gotten quite a few, Roscoe Graham, a couple of guys that when someone asks you about officiating, regardless of what sport, I mean, everybody can be trained. I mean, we'll find out. I mean, it's
I have one more, which is a staff sergeant. He's a sergeant first class, Jones. He's wanting to officiate too, so he wanted to do football. So I talked to him.
And again, guys, now even at these scrimmages, if someone know, I mean, they don't have to be registered to go to attend a scrimmage. First, I mean, you can send one. If they go, I send them out the second time, they gotta be because someone want to just gotta find out what it's about. They want to just do I have no problem with them getting on the Zoom call. All right. So again, the numbers right now, like I said, we have 112. I'm going to address those individuals who have not paid. Again, because I need to know what you got going forward. All right. Because again, I've made some assignments and I'm not going to make up a dummy assignment. I'm going to just make up, I'm going to put the games out. The 12th, we have 3 jamborees. And coming to county, they're not going to play a foul game. 6, 7, 8, and 9. Get a credit for a scrimmage, you have to do 2 hours. So you go out there, you got a 6 o'clock scrimmage, you got what? 6 and 7. You go out there at 8 o'clock, you got 8 and 9. And at the scrimmage, I want you to work. I mean, if I want you to work. I don't, hey, anybody, you don't get credit for attendance, man. You get credit for working training. Right. So I will have people out there, hey, going in different positions and doing different things. Look, I hope you're excited and be motivated because this is it's going to be fun this year. Good to have and finally be back on the field. On the 25th, Cecil Mark, I'm gonna ask him tomorrow. He's gonna all those awards that have not been presented, whether you work the private school state championship over at Harold's Christian, or you work the regular state championship. I'm gonna recognize everybody for that, the basketball, some other things. But again, hopefully he'll have a chance to, you'll have a chance to meet him and ask him some questions. Like I say, he's right now he's drinking from fire hose. Basketball game last night, Gerald Jenkins worked the All-Star game and the women's game. I think the referee of the game showed up like 2 minutes before the tip-off. They weren't even excited, man. And the guy, when I went out there, he was telling Cecil Mark that was unacceptable. I mean, but that's not his All-Star game. He had the referees. So there's some things I'll be sending out about how we dress and how we do things this year. This one of the words is going to be accountability, guys. I mean, we're going to hold each other accountable, and we're going to make sure. I mean, again, I was in an email out today. It was an award ceremony at the NCHSA, and one of our football, basketball officials, baseball, softball, Anthony Maynard received the North Carolina High School Golden Whistle Merit Award. That's the highest award you can get in the North Carolina. So I'll put that out on email tonight and everything else. Hey, congratulations, that's a lot of hard work. And it's great to have guys being recognized. Some of the others.
Earl.
Yes.
Earl. Hey,
yes.
let's all note that Earl Daniels also got the Golden Whistle Award today also.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot Adrian Larry on the call here. So he was, yeah, it was probably, that's the first time in history we had folks, two people from the same organization. That is, I mean, that's honor. Mr. Brad Allen was there to see it. And we had Jason Suggs at St. Paul's. He got the award for being the principal. And knowing he can, if he start paying like he did today. So, I mean, he's the young man from Terry Sanford. He was
Davis Monar.
Yeah, Monar. He won the male athlete of the year in North Carolina. Kylie Aldridge got an award. Coach Stackhouse received an award. So, I mean, Cumberland County was well represented out there today. It's always good to see people within the association in Region 4. So again, like I say, I didn't know Anthony was on the call. He's doing a lot of things. He works, hey, XU baseball this weekend. We were there doing that. But again, like I say, everybody's busy, but it's good that you take time to recognize the things that you do. We appreciate you taking the time here. I mean, it's 73 people right now on this call. So that's good. And it's, but you have the dates. You have the dates of the clinics. Make yourself available. But again, look at the calendar. I want everybody to work on Thursday and Friday, but specifically on Friday. When I say I want my best people out there, you shouldn't be home on Friday. And if you are, that means what? You're not one of my best that particular night. Hey, that's the way it is. But that don't mean we can't get there. Hey, Ronnie, thanks. Continue. I will go back and like I say, I'll send an email. Ronnie, I'll talk to you tonight and I'll see you tomorrow. For those individuals that are on the football staff, it's not mandatory tomorrow, but if you can make it, several people going up, I think on the association, all the spring and winter sports supervisor and property, they're going to take a couple of people with them tomorrow. So again, continue the clinic and I'll see you on the other end. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, sir. So guys, going back to the halftime links, they say 10 is the shortest, 20 is the longest. I'm not telling you you're not going to be at a middle school in the middle of nowhere that man comes up and wants to know what the shortest time that you can do. I'd be telling you a story if I told you that I haven't done it 8-minute halftime, or whatever. Use your best judgment. Obviously, you're not going to do that on a Friday night, though. 10 being the shortest plus 3. Most of the places we go, Well, some of the places we go have a decent clock operator that will put 3 minutes up on the clock. Some don't. If you're a back judge, be prepared to keep that on the field if necessary, just, so that you have um, a 3 minute warm up period. Doesn't mean that the team has to come out and utilize the 3 minute warm up period. I've had questions about that of whether that, hey, they didn't come out. It doesn't matter to us whether they come out as long as they're there when it's time to start the thing. They could be warming up in the bus for all we know, but we just required to give the 3 minute warm up period. Timeouts, everybody gets 3 timeouts. We've talked about this some last year. If a team, if you're working that wing, it's your responsibility to know how many timeouts they have and if they're out of timeouts. If you grant them a timeout for them calling a timeout, then obviously the penalty is to delay a game. I will say, and when I brief a coach at the meeting, I'll tell him if he's out of timeouts, call it anyway. If he's got a question that he feels like we misapplied a rule, the worst thing that can happen is us give him a delay of game. If we have found that we've given, if we have found that we've misapplied a rule, then fix the thing and no problem, and we'll go back to playing football. I have not heard yet whether we are going to have JV timing continuing. I know Errol's working with Cecil on that this week while he's up there. As soon as we do know whether we're going to do JV timing or whether we're going to get a raise or what's going to happen with that, we will know. I will tell you, there's some conferences you'll go to, and as you're talking with the coaches, some conferences in JV might play a 10-minute quarter, some might play a 12-minute quarter. Whatever they agree on, play it. If you can get away with playing a 10-minute quarter, by all means, play a 10-minute quarter. Don't be foolish and talk them into doing 12. But that's completely up to you. But don't force them to do a 10-minute if they play a 12-minute. Give them the 12 minutes. If we decide that we are doing JV timing, we'll probably have to have a whole episode on just that to make sure that we're on the same page with that. We know that timeouts don't carry over from one period to the other, as well as they won't be going to take them over to any overtime. Should be most unfortunate and have to go to overtime procedures. Normally, that's a sign of bad game management. I'm just kidding. You've got those dates. As we start having some on-field clinics, guys, this happens every year, no matter who's the supervisor or no matter who's the people doing the training. There's a time to talk and a time to listen. And when you get out on the field and Earl breaks it up of whoever is teaching whatever lesson, it's time to do the listening. Whatever he says is what we're going to do, unless we find something in the book that is just completely different that we can show him, hey, I think we're doing this wrong. But if he tells you to stand in a certain place, just go with it and do it. And there's a reason behind what he's telling you. It never fails. We get to a place and we're doing a clinic and you get a new guy that's come from another association. Let's say, well, we did it this way. You're not in Kansas anymore, Dorsey. You're here and he's going to do it by the book is what he wants to do. So, by all means, in your spare time, feel free to email it to him and he'll take it under consideration and do what he can with it. Any particular questions on anything we've covered so far tonight? I've seen a couple that they've typed in. The last thing that he talked with me earlier today about is mainly for the referees, but we're going to talk about our pregame. The football staff had a short conversation about this. There's a difference between a pregame and a clinic. When we get to the site and it's time to meet with the other 4 people, provided that this year we have a place to do that indoors, which I think we will. He's working with the schools right now to secure that. You may be assigned a topic by the referee to go over. It's not a time to show up and read it from the rule book because most of the time he's already read it if he gave it to you to read. He just wants you to explain it in your own words so that you know how to apply it to the game. Referees, the last thing we want to see Earl talked about is don't show up and make the pregame so complicated that a new guy, because you're going to have new people with you this year, they're going to go out and work. that their mind is so frazzled by the time they leave to go out on the field that they completely don't understand what they're fixing to do, or you can bring bad things into a game. As Eddie once said, talk about the 95% of the things that will happen in a game and leave the 5% that have never happened in any game you've ever been in out of it. It's not a time to, break out a bunch of booklets and start going over things. In your bag, you need to carry your rule book, because there's always things that when you come to the locker room that you want to talk about that you might need to look up. And you can do that in a good pregame. The biggest thing that a good referee can tell a guy that's new that he's going out with, especially if you got veteran guys with you, as long as you can explain to me what it is that you saw and be in the right place to see what you think you saw, then we can fix it. Inadvertent whistles are going to happen. They're not our favorite thing. I mean, if you officiated long enough, it's you've had one or more than one. If anybody that officiates has have never had one, they're just lying to you. I mean, it's going to happen. But when it does happen, you need to go ahead and blow the thing at that point to keep somebody else from getting killed in the process. Own up to it, and there's rules that are there in place for us to help fix it. How to deal with that is in Rule 3 that we just talked about tonight. You need to make sure you read up on those things. But in that pregame, don't make it so complicated that people aren't able to keep up with it, and you bring things on people's mind that they start looking for. That's when bad things can creep into your game.
Hey, Ronnie.
Yes, sir.
Brian Carter's got a question for you, or he raised his hand at least.
Is it in? Go ahead and unmute and ask it if you got a question.
Oh, no, I was just wondering if we was going to talk about the rule changes for the year. Over.
We will. He didn't put that on my list to go over tonight, so I didn't. But I know he's going to have one on the rule changes that'll cover all the different rules. And normally they are on one page in the back of the book, typically.
They're in the front of the book this year.
I normally skip chapter 1 and go to chapter 2. Let's see here. So the first
Roger,
one,
and
we can
page 99.
So there ain't but a couple here. We touched on one about anybody changing the ball. And again, you're the back judge. Don't come up there wanting to take the ball away from the umpire. He'll handle that. The added link to the team box isn't really anything new for us. They did that during COVID. I doubt you'll really see that a whole lot. Refining of the chop block, before was it the knee and below, now it's waist and below. The change on the offended team. Now the offended team, at the 2 minutes and less, the offended team has the option of stopping the clock. It's not about starting the clock. That's really not different. The only thing was they give it to both sides now. And I guess the biggest rule change this year is where we've had guys intentionally grounding the football. Now that's going to be a change for us, knowing they're outside that pocket and throwing the ball away. I know he's going to have one, and we'll go more in depth on those things coming up. But I don't want to infringe on what he's already got laid out, because I don't know exactly what that might be.
Hey, Ronnie.
Yep.
When you turn your head and talk away, you don't come in as loud.
Sorry. I was reading while I was talking. I apologize. Anybody got any questions about what we've gone over so far? You've got the dates that he's emailed out. Contact him if you got any questions about them. If you have any issues of making any of that, just email him so that he knows ahead of time. And I think that's everything I've got. John, are you good on the attendance thing? I didn't hit it because my screen disappeared when I did. Just add my name to it.
Yeah, just make sure you click the link, guys. They'll stay up for a few minutes after the meeting. And if you don't know how to do it or you can't do it, just hang on. And then once all the questions have been answered, I'll run through and put your name in manually.
That's all I've got, guys. If you,
Ronnie.
yes, go ahead.
Ronnie, someone had a question about if there be any meetings, I guess the question was
Small groups.
small group study groups.
Yeah, I think he talked about that, didn't he? When he was on a few minutes ago.
Yeah, it was just someone saying, hey, guys, if you put your name in the chat, that does not register. You have to do it online.
No, I mean, I think Earl was talking about small groups that are already meeting on their own. But I don't think that he's looking to, I'm not sure if I understand the question, Anthony, but are you meaning like how we used to do, like Robertson County would have a group, and then Cumberland County, and then maybe Scotland County or Laurinburg area?
Jamal, you may want to unmute yourself and explain. Jamal Johnson was asking that question.
I was just saying that if there was anyone with small groups, I'm still new, so if there was, I would like to get with anyone that is meeting or talking or studying or something like that to
No
try
problem.
to help myself out or make sure that
What area do you live in, Jamal?
I'm in Fayetteville. I'm on the Pine Forest side of Fayetteville.
Okay. We'll get somebody over there and let you know where they're meeting and what they're going over. A bunch of different groups will meet. Some of them meet at different restaurants. But we can certainly get you hooked up with somebody that you can meet with. That won't be a problem at all.
Thank you.
Hey, guys, just to reinforce, I don't want anybody not to get credit for tonight, but if you don't click the link or stay on at the end, you won't get credit for tonight. The type in the name thing does not work.
I don't see the link anymore. Guys, once you click the link, we're good to go for tonight. I thank you for joining us.
Yeah, if you need attendance, just say your name if you can't figure out how to do it, and I will start clicking and putting people in.
Ronnie, someone just had a question on how to register. I think you may, if you haven't registered already, you probably want to address that in the chat.
Say it again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Someone in the chat just had a question on how to register.
Through Dragonfly, I'm assuming. Who was it?
It says Harry's iPad. I don't know who that is.
Is that Harry Cook? Unmute yourself, Harry. Let's hear you. Uh-oh. Still
Hey, Ronnie,
muted,
give me a
Harry.
call when the meeting's over, Ronnie.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
that was Harry Cook. Yes, that
Go ahead.
was me. And
Go ahead, Harry.
because last week they said just type the name in the chat and you get credit for it last week.
Yes,
So
sir.
this week they saying something different.
That's right. So what it was is last week we didn't have the form built yet, and this week I think they were able to get it up and going. So when you're looking at that bottom in the chat, you'll see a link there, and it'll actually take you to a place you can type your name in. And I think what happens is it automatically makes them a roster. But I
Okay,
think
then.
last week was just the beginning, and they were able just to put the name in, and it worked. If anybody has trouble, though, John's going to stay on to help you get your name put in if you have any issue.
Harry, I already got you.
Okay then. All right, man. No problem. All right, no problem.
Don't make it
Okay,
a
thank
habit,
you.
Harry.
Hey,
Ronnie. I won't.
Hey, Ronnie, can you give me a call after you get off?
Yep, I'll call you.
Hey, Ronnie.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I tried to click on that link 4 different times and it won't let me get on the link at all. So I don't know.
We had you banned from it. That's what
Okay, that's fine
Oh,
then.
yeah.
I'm out.
Hey, all you gotta do is click on the HTTPS and it'll take you there.
Yeah, you
I
see
got
that?
you, JC.
Okay. Anybody else having trouble?
Ronnie, you know I'm having trouble.
Lord, Chip.
Chip, I got
You got me, John?
You
I
are
got
in trouble. Chip's still chasing the ball on the ground that I threw in Greensboro.
I'm trying to pick him up off the ground.
Reggie, I
Well,
got you.
Y'all need to leave the Chip Bishop alone. He is a legend.
Hey, John, get Roger Ladner.
Thank you,
I
JC.
got
Thank
you,
you very
Roger.
much.
Hey, I do see in the chat too, guys, Steve Jones is going to be in surgery. So keep him in your prayers.
Was that Pete Jones who said get me?
Yes, John. Did you get me?
I will now.
Thank you.
Hey, for you guys that are still on, Pete informed me last week when we were at dinner together. Red Springs has a new facility to play at, so you won't be going back to the old field of mud if you go down to Red Springs. So something positive to look forward to if you wind up in the Red Springs area.
Are they still on top of you?
I don't think so, but it's a whole new facility that they've built. They spent a bunch of money in that thing.
Nice.
Actually, Ronnie, it is a $3.5 million athletic complex.
Good gracious. And they have a new coach, by the way, guys. So that little fiery fella that was down there jumping all over the place is no longer with us.
Where is the new complex?
I'm sorry?
Where is the new complex? Is it at the high school?
No, Pete, tell them where that's at.
It is right down from the high school, across from the cemetery.
On that same road?
On the same road, yes, sir.
Okay, I do know where that cemetery is.
Mm-hmm. The new coach is actually the old coach of Goldsboro High School. If you ever had Clinton in Goldsboro, he just went back home.
Hey, Ronnie.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Carter here. Hey, so just to be clear, when is our next meeting, or do we know?
I think he said next Tuesday.
Yeah.
He's going to send out an email.
No, I think this is the one that switches to Monday.
Yeah, it's supposed to switch to Monday next week.
And it may, he will send out an email ahead of time.
Yeah, the 18th is what he got on his schedule.
Right.
I thought the 18th was when he was going to start his fitness thing, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, I think I'm from the message I got from him. That's the one we're going to do the Dragonfly. Is the 18th on the Monday, the 18th, but he's going to start assessments that week.
Guys, I will tell you this on this the Dragonfly. If you hadn't played with it, you need to play with it.
Yes,
Because the state is going to Dragonfly. Now, if you officiate other sports, you may have seen some of them wanting to use both, but I have all ideas in the world that the state is going to put a stop to that. And they're all going to be on Dragonfly.
Hey, Ronnie, they want us to go ahead, but do they want us to go ahead and load up our account for banking for deposits, whatever?
Yes.
I did that.
Yes.
Guys, I've already done that, and it works.
Yes.
And went in and I put in, just put in my standard data, and they sent 2 deposits to my account, one for 1 cent, one for 12 cents. And then I had a thing pop up in there, and I went in and validated it, 12 cents, 1 cent. And then they took it back. And so, so far so good with Dragonfly. So, it works.
Yeah, my question is though, Ronnie, because they still haven't changed the email address on mine. So are they still sending my information to the old email address? Okay, he's on the phone.
Did you change it? Did you change your email address?
I changed it in the app, but because I changed it, an administrator has to change it. That's what I was told.
I think he's working on that tomorrow in the Dragonfly meet.
Yeah, I know that was one thing that was on his list.
Because that's why I'm not loading anything. I mean, I'm loaded except for my account stuff, because I don't, like he said, they sent him a message saying that 12 cents was loaded or 10 cents. Well, I'm not getting any message as per se, like when we got game notifications and stuff like that. I haven't been receiving any, and that's why. So I've been holding off on that until I get that updated or fixed.
Yeah, Ronnie, this is Danny. Can you check, make sure I'm clicked in and got credit for tonight? I didn't know if I was doing what I'm supposed to do.
I got you, Danny.
Okay.
Stop rubbing the top of your head, Danny. Ain't no hair there.
Hey man, that's the only thing I got to rub.
Guys, unless anybody got any more questions, I got to run. I got a service call I got